All right, everybody, and a very unhappy Wednesday to all of you. This is the Unhappy Gilmore Show, brought to you, powered by Green Legion Radio. It is overcast and a little nasty here, so lighting's not quite as good as it usually. I usually use the window across the room here for a little extra light right in my face, but tonight it kind of sucks. Extra sucked because it was hot as hell again today, and I wanted to come home and swim before getting on here, and on my way home was when the thunderstorms came in, so that really sucked. Other than that, decent day. All unfortunately, we're going to start with something a little bit, not so decent, right? Tony Siragusa, the Goose, passed away today. Apparently, the only thing I was able to find was that he died in his sleep. At 55 years old. So, I mean, anybody who knows who the Goose is, big guy, defensive tackle, right? 6'4" or whatever, 340 pounds, huge individual. Undrafted free agent out of the University of Pittsburgh, signed with Indianapolis in 1990 as a defensive tackle. I think that kind of, and I see y'all saying what's up. Hey, how's everybody doing? I'll jump over to the room here. I just want to kind of get through this with Goose real quick. At the end of his tenure with Indianapolis, there was a falling out. He didn't agree with the way the coach was being handled, and so they parted ways. He signs with Baltimore, and of course, we all remember that, right? He's part of that amazing Ravens defense that clobbered the Giants in Super Bowl 35, 34-7. And I mean, if you guys remember that Super Bowl, if Trent Dilfer was, I mean, even halfway, a little bit better than what he was. I mean, that game, good Lord, they could have set records for blowout in that game. I think it was Jermaine Lewis. I think the Giants tried to put Jason Sehorn on Jermaine Lewis like all night long, and that shit was just not working out well. And then, of course, that Ravens defense. I mean, the Giants were just overmatched. The Ravens were the best team in the league that year. Jamal Lewis in the backfield. But anyway, we were talking about Goose passing away today. Yeah, he retires after the 01 season, so he got his Super Bowl, played one more year, and he was done. 562 tackles, 22 sacks, 9 fumble recoveries. Not a guy that would light up the the stat sheet, right? He's a defensive tackle, so that's not really their thing, right? I mean, well, unless you're Fletcher Cox, and then you want your whole thing to be about going after sacks. But Goose was a defensive tackle, nose guard. So his biggest impact on the game was what? It was just clogging up that area, right? You're not coming up the gut against us because my big ass is here to stop that from happening. Doesn't hurt when you have Ray Lewis right behind you. Everybody can have their opinions on Ray Lewis. Doesn't change the fact that he was an absolute maniac out on the football. And maniac's probably the best way to describe him, right? Considering the off the field shit too. Right around that Super Bowl, right? Yeah, we're not going to go there tonight, though. He then Goose goes on to be a sideline reporter with Fox until he was fired after the 2015 season. Interestingly enough, he actually played in a season of The Sopranos. I didn't know it. Maybe I did know it and I forgot about it or whatever, but he played a character called Frankie in The Sopranos. He was a soldier in the Soprano family and a driver and bodyguard for Tony. And that's it. I don't know how that all went down, but if he was if he got whacked in the show, I'd have to go back and watch. That's something I probably should do, is go back and watch The Sopranos. I have not gone back and watched any of that, and I couldn't even tell you how long. And that was a show that I thoroughly enjoyed. So again, Goose passes away today. Again, I don't know if anybody else has been able to find any reason or anything, or cause of death or whatever. I did not. I didn't even know about it until I got out of work at around 4:00 today. and started to come home, and I get in my car and I see the notification. Defense, retired defensive tackle, former Fox NFL sideline analyst, Tony Siragusa passes away at the age of 55. I quickly tried to look something up, um, and all I could find was that he died in his sleep. So a bigger guy. I mean, that could have been heart problems. That could have been a lot of things. Hopefully that was true, and there was no pain. You hope that this isn't a CTE thing, although it doesn't really sound like it at this point. You just hope that's not the case. But thoughts and prayers and our hearts go out to his wife Kathy and their three children, Samantha, Ava, and Tony Jr. You guys remember Goose when he was a sideline reporter? I mean, he was obviously an animal on the field and a big time character. But you remember him as a sideline reporter with Fox? He was hysterical. I liked him there. I didn't read too much into why he got fired back in 15. I guess he did some kind of do-it-yourself home improvement shows too. But again, 55 years old, so way too young. I mean, that's far too young. Let me jump on over to the room here. Who we got in here? Bryant, how you doing, bud? Sawyer Covert. Sawyer? I'm not quite sure who you are there, bud. But how you doing? Lou Mancini, always good to see you. Keenan. And Jay Vagnetti in here too. Too many athletes dying this week. Yeah, I know. Another Raven died today too, 26 years old. I don't get it. It comes in threes. Everybody always says. I mean, I don't know. Let's hope that's just not going to happen, right? But yeah, tragic. It's really, really sad, especially when they go so young like that. So I wanted to kind of I wanted to start there. I don't ever want to close a show. Try to treat it the same way as I treat meetings with my employees and whatnot. I don't ever want to close a show or close a meeting or whatever on a bad note, right? I want if we have bad news or whatever, you got to deliver the news. Good, bad, or ugly, you got to deliver the news. But if you got bad news, I always suggest starting with that, right? We'll get that out of the way, and then from there we can shift gears towards some other stuff that's either positive or fun, or when I go, if I go off on a rant, you guys want to laugh at me. I'm here for your entertainment, y'all. That's what this is. That's what this is all about, and I hope I do a good job of it. Jump back over. Fito, my brother, out of work late again. No Wi-Fi in the car. Catch the rest of the show in a bit. Go Whiskey Hill. Yep. Told you I would wear the shirt and the hat and everything for a show. I will wear it more than once, but this is the Whiskey Hill jersey. If anybody saw the photo that I put up for today's show, those are my boys when we took our baseball trip back in 2019. That was the stop in Kansas City. It was Hawaiian shirt giveaway day at the K for the Royals game. So they had those on over their Whiskey Hill shirts. The girls behind them in that picture are the Kansas State cheerleaders, or a group of them that were at the game. And I was 40 years old, be a little creepy. Hey, girls, come take a picture of my fat ass. So instead of that, I had my boys go stand with them. And when it came time to take their picture, I had them open the Hawaiian shirt with the Whiskey Hill underneath. So that was just one part of the fun. And we're going to get into the baseball trip for this year. It's locked and loaded. Baseball trip's going to turn into kind of a family trip, and I'll discuss that a little later on. So yeah, Goose. Anybody else have any final thoughts on Goose? Lou, I see over there, definitely an old school nose tackle. Absolutely. He was there to just clog the middle. The stat sheet wasn't where he his difference was made just by his presence and his physicality in the trenches. So NFL loses a big personality today with the passing of Goose. And again, thoughts and prayers to his family, to his NFL family, to his friends, but certainly to his wife and their three kids. Not the way you ever really want to start a show, but given that we are a sports based and certainly football based program here, family of programs really. Yeah, something like that breaks, you gotta jump on it. So staying with the NFL, we're gonna update the Deshaun Watson douche-o-meter. I'm not gonna add a whole lot here. So I think everybody by now has seen that yesterday there were 20 of 24 cases, civil cases, that have been settled. So there are now 4 outstanding. So the douche-o-meter, I mean, well, he's just a douche. A douche yacht, I think, was the term we came up with a few weeks ago, coined by my oldest. Um, he said, douche canoe's not enough for some people. I said, well, what do you want to call him? He said, douche yacht. That's all right. We're going to run with that. So Deshaun Watson's a douche yacht. He's still got 4 remaining cases outstanding. One of those 4 is still the original accuser. And at the risk of not messing this up, I'm going to try to drag this over here. So Ashley Solis is the original accuser. She's the one that had the established professional massage business. She was the one that was contacted out of the blue by Deshaun Watson on Instagram. She's the one that describes a creepy run-up to the meeting, alleging Watson inquired if she would be alone before sprawling out naked on the massage table with just a small hand towel and repeatedly directing contact to his area and then his junk. It was her that testified she ended the meeting abruptly and cried in front of him, which Watson acknowledged under oath, describing Solis as teary-eyed. It's Solis who received an apologetic text message from Watson, but also one that Solis took as threatening should she speak about the encounter. In quotes from Watson, I know you have a career and a reputation, and I know you would hate for someone to mess with yours, just like I don't want anyone messing with mine. This guy's just a sick bastard. Okay. He's obviously got some, the Chiefs slid off the cracker. He ain't playing with a full deck. The engine's running, but there's nobody behind the wheel, whatever you want to call it. Back over here, Lou. I have to believe in over on YouTube. I have to believe in everything that's going on today. That douche yacht will be suspended for this coming season. Absolutely could not agree more. I don't see any way that he plays this year. I really don't. And then we've talked about, we've beaten this kind of to death. What are the Browns going to do? They have to get Baker out. The word is Carolina. He's got to get out of there. There's going to be no kind of reconciliation with Mayfield. That's not going to happen. So what are they going to do? They're just going to have whoever at quarterback, and then Deshaun's going to sit out all of this year on a suspension, and they're going to come back in 2023 with a guaranteed $230 million quarterback that has not taken an NFL snap in 2 fucking seasons. I just don't see how any of that works out well. And to be honest with you, the Browns deserve that. All this talk about how they did their due diligence, I find it to be bullshit, first of all. I find it to be nauseating. And I find it insulting that the Browns themselves think we're all dumb enough to believe that they did their due diligence when more and more cases kept coming out after they traded away the farm, traded away all. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at what the exact details were to get him, and then gave him that monstrous contract. Cleveland deserves to eat all the crow. There's no excuse for it. They were. It's. I can't. Like I've said before, my in-laws are from that area. My mother-in-law is a diehard Browns fan. I don't know if she's going to start looking for applications to become a fan of a different team. Um, I can hand her one for Philly, but she is disgusted with the whole thing. She's been disgusted with it from day one. She was disgusted with the Watson stuff before Cleveland, right? And then her team. Yeah, this woman's in her mid-70s. She's been rooting for this team for her entire life. And this is the franchise that makes this trade, gives this idiot a huge guaranteed contract, and then tries to sell everyone on it that they did their due diligence. When since the contract has been signed, another handful of women have come out and made the same complaints. I don't get it. They hop back. He better call Cosby's legal team. Very nice, Keenan. 305 Sports Babe. There she is. Y'all make sure you subscribe to her on YouTube as well and catch her show. I try to as best I can. Some nights I just can't get in there, but she said it will take my mother-in-law as a Dolphins fan. I will have none of that. You knock it off. But yeah, I mean, and she's not the only Browns fan that's disgusted, right? They're everywhere. That front office has alienated part of their fan base. If there was ever a way, this is a fan base. Keep in mind. So this fan base got its team taken away from them back in the mid-90s, right? I was in high school when that happened. And there was this whole thing about a million fan march to keep the Browns in Cleveland. I mean, it was a huge, huge deal. I'm sure most of you probably remember it. They get their franchise taken away from them. That franchise then moves to Baltimore and wins a Super Bowl. Yeah, it's that franchise. You want a good trivia question? Who was the first player to score a touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens? I'll give you guys a few minutes to think about that. Who was the first player to score a touchdown for the Baltimore Ravens? Don't go Googling it. Just spit out your answer. But remember, this was the Browns to win the Super Bowl. Now they get their, so they get their franchise back. But it's supposedly, a different startup franchise, and all of the fans come back. All of them. I mean, I'm sure there were a few that, didn't, and they just kept being stuck in the mud. But most, I mean, I don't know anyone that was a Browns fan that didn't go back. Okay, let's put it that way. And I moved out here now. Granted, yes, I'm in Cincinnati, but it's not like the Bengals were always here. So there is a decent Browns following in this area. And then they've been terrible. They've been awful forever. That team has been junk, right? I mean, what did they have? The 1 year where they went 10-6, like 12 years ago or whatever the hell it was, with Braylon Edwards miraculously learned how to catch the ball for one season, and they went 10-6. I think missed the playoffs. Then they had the season with Baker, where they go and they beat Pittsburgh, and it's a big win. And you take all of that and flush it. By and large, for the last 30 years, this team, since coming back, right? So, what is it, 25 years or whatever you want to call it? They have been horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Lou Mancini, you're absolutely right. It's Modell's fault. Of course it's Modell's fault. He took the freaking team to Baltimore. He's a jerk-off. So, and they've been terrible. And yet the fans still kept coming. You never heard all the, with the NFL having the guidelines on what you had, your attendance had to be so much percentage of your stadium in order to be televised. The Browns never had that trouble. Never. Even with how bad they've been. How they got their freaking franchise stolen away from them. But now, you Browns and your ownership group and your front office, you've spit in the face of a lot of those people with this whole Deshaun Watson thing. Those Browns fans, as far as sports fanhood goes, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a more loyal fan base. Browns, Chicago Cubs, because not only did the Cubs not win a championship for 108 years, they were shit for a lot of that, kind of just like Cleveland. The Boston Red Sox fan base, although the Red Sox actually had a bunch of good teams, they just didn't get over the hump. That loyal fan base, and you spit in their face by trading away your future to go get this guy who was already showing that if he's so take a look at Desean. He signed that contract before before D-Hop was traded to Arizona. Before. So you don't get to come back, and now you want to come back and or sign it. I think he signed it after. Like D-Hop got traded, and then Desean signs the contract. I had him backwards. But then he bitches and wants out. Personally, I think he wanted out because he knew what smoke was coming up the chimney pipe with all this, with all the massage therapists and stuff. So, I would not be at all surprised if once he started complaining, that's when Houston decided to kick the ball into play with all of that. I don't want to speculate too much. What I can speculate on, and what I've seen a lot of, is the speculation about, okay, all of a sudden now we have settlements in 20 of the 24 cases. This right on the heels of all of this recent reports that the NFL was going to hand down their punishment coming soon. So you have to wonder if the league office or even the Browns front office finally went to him and was like, look, dude, you have got to settle whatever you can now, and we will work with you on the last handful or whatever. But this has to start coming to an end instead of continuing to grow. I believe there's probably some validity to that. And I heard it a bunch on on my drive in this morning, and then when I stopped for lunch this afternoon. Excuse me. So 4 cases left, and they're serious, and and it's all serious. But I just read you a whole bunch of stuff that the original accuser. I do not see him playing in 2022. I would be surprised, and to be honest with you, I'd be disappointed in the NFL. This league suspended Calvin Ridley for an entire year for gambling. What was it, 1,500? I forget the money amount, but it was gambling, and he suspended him for a whole year. Yet Deshaun Watson out here trying to grope, make them grope him wherever he can. And 24, 25, I mean, it's too much. You cannot allow him to play. Major League Baseball suspends Trevor Bauer for 2 years. Now, Bauer was, he's been reported of actually beating the woman, which, there's no excuse for that. You're not a man. You're a chicken shit, weak sauce, whatever you want to call it, just limp wristed. I have no respect for any guy that's going to go out and beat a woman. There's just no reason for any of that, and no excuse for it. So he got what he deserved. He probably didn't get enough. They probably should have just banned him for life for that shit. You can make the argument, why, the Trevor Bauer thing. You can make the argument, well, why did she go back another time? I'm not going to go down that road. That's a touchy subject, and what he did was very wrong. So, no matter how many times he did it, what he did was wrong. So that's where I'm going to leave that. But again, you have some precedent being set there. MLB suspends Bauer for 2 years for assaulting this woman. The NFL suspends Calvin Ridley for a full season for gambling. Deshaun Watson just settled 20 of 24 civil cases for women that have alleged him to for sexual misconduct. 20 of 24 cases. Still 4 outstanding. We don't know what's going to happen with them yet. There's no way he plays in 2022. So again, the Browns come the start of 2023, if he's even allowed to play then, are going to start the year with a $230 million quarterback that hasn't played in 2 full years. Way to go, Cleveland. Way to shit on your fan base that has been loyal to you through all kinds of nonsense and defeat and inept front office and quarterback. What is that laundry list of quarterbacks that people wear on the back of that friggin' jersey? Yeah, I have no respect for you anymore. All right. Trevor Bauer. He's going to play in the USFL. They better not let him. That's all I can say there. Lou Mancini. Those 4 are going to trial from what I've read. It sounds that way. And I hope they do. I hope he he needs to be criminally charged with something. Everything you read says that the criminal charges have been dismissed, but these 4 still for some reason are lingering out there. So I think he needs to be criminally charged. I think what he's done is terrible. And again, I've said it every week. What has been my constant thing every week with this? I want to know what was going on in South Carolina while he was at Clemson. This crap did not start in Houston. He was getting away with this shit long before he got drafted to the Texans. So I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of reporters and whatnot in South Carolina trying to find that information. I hope somebody uncovers it. Might have to bribe Dabo Sweeney because I'm sure he's the culprit hiding it. But anyways, so what I'm going to do now, something I have not done yet. Oh, here we go. Russ, I'm going to raise my hand and say the NFL is more concerned about gambling, dogfighting, and steroids than protecting women. That is what it looks like right now, Russ. And what I will piggyback on that comment by saying the NFL has a real opportunity here to show that they are not what you're describing by severely punishing Deshaun Watson. Okay? They have a real opportunity to show that they do care, that these things are serious, and that they will not be tolerated. And that's what we need to see from the league office. So there should be an arbitration hearing with an arbiter. They will levy a decision. Watson can appeal that decision, and then it goes directly to Goodell. Goodell is the final be-all, end-all. So I agree with you, Russ. To this point, they have certainly looked like those things are more important to them. I'm hoping they take this opportunity to make an example out of Watson that this shit is no longer going to be tolerated. And I hope the Browns have to eat all the crap for it. Sorry, not sorry. So what I'm going to do now is something I've been wanting to do for a couple of weeks, but I've not yet been able to, not for whatever reason. I am going to post this here. All right, I'm hoping this works. Yeah. So that's the link for StreamYard. If anyone would like to come in and join. I talked to Lou Dominguez earlier. I don't know if he'll be able to join. I hope he can. Like to talk to him about a couple things on the back half of the show here. Guys, I'm going to try to keep this to an hour. I think we talk about some good stuff in here. And the room is always on, just on it. Every single week. You guys are fantastic. And I think that hour mark is really a good spot. I'm trying to build this. So, the best thing you guys can do outside of, the awesome participation every week is spread the word, man. Tell your friends, tell your family to get in there and go to YouTube and subscribe to the Green Legion and watch all of us, everything. Oh, there they are. I'm going to give you a minute. Looks like you're still walking around in the room. Russ, spread it like crabs. There you go. If whatever gets it done. So, oh, here he is. All right. Well, here they are. This is all right. Give me a second here. Keenan, I got a face for radio and not tech savvy, so I'll just sit back and heckle your ass from in the room. Oh, and we lost Lou and Ashley. See if they come back in here. Because they just tried to join and then now all of a sudden they're not there. So I gotta add them to the stream when they come back in. But yeah, please, everyone, spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell everybody. Get onto YouTube, subscribe to the Green Legion, watch all of the shows, right? I'm the newbie. I'm the newcomer, right? These guys are, this family, this Green Legion radio family is fantastic. You guys all know Thursday nights they do they record for Saturdays with with Green Legion Radio. If you can't have fun watching that with Quimby, Sack, Diaz, Irving Fryer, Super Sam, I don't want to forget her because everybody else does. But, and then whoever other special guests they bring in, that's a great watch. Chris and Greg Murphy on Sundays with Baseball Brunch. If you're not a big baseball fan, I get it. If you're not a Phillies fan, I understand, but you don't have to be. It's a really fun show, and they're an hour. Oh, there they are. Let's try to bring them on in here. At the stream. Hey!
Hey!
What's going on, man? How are you?
Nothing much, man. Doing great. How about you?
I'm living the dream over here, man.
That's it.
Clouds finally cleared up. We're starting to get a little sunlight again. Temperature dropped too far now. I can't get in the damn pool. I'm pissed. So I don't have to wait for tomorrow. So how's it down there? About
great,
95
man.
Degrees and steamy?
Oh, it's hot down here, man. It's real hot. Yeah.
We've had a hot start here, man. It's been a really, really hot start to the summer here. I mean, it gets steamy here, but it's been like we've had a stretch of weather that I'm used to seeing in August, not in June. It's been hot, which the kids love because I come running home from work. I'm like, get your suits on, let's go in the pool. And we're jumping on in. So I talked about Tony Siragusa and I talked about Desean Watson. I don't know if you had anything to add on either of those.
Yeah, no, I heard. I was listening on the way back from work. Definitely, Desean Watson continues his douche canoe tour. So yeah, nothing to add there. And then with the Goose, man, that's sad. He was a champion and a true one of the funniest guys out there. Always upbeat, always a smile on his face. Brought the team together with his pranks, and so just sad to see Goose pass away.
Yeah, he was a fun guy, man. When he was the sideline reporter, I mean, he was a lot of fun. Yeah, he'd be down underneath the goalposts. You couldn't. I mean, there's only certain areas you could put him. He's so freaking big.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And he plays that role with the Sopranos. I had forgotten all about that until I read it today. He was like a driver bodyguard for Tony.
Right.
I got to go back and watch that series again now, really just to see that.
Man, the way he looked, he was like it's ultimate casting. The way he was, built for a Sopranos role, and then also he did a lot of good work with NFL Films. They mic'd them up, including the Super Bowl. And man, just the jokes he was railing off at the line, and it was awesome, man. It's just sad to see him go.
Yeah, he was definitely a character, definitely a character. And like I said, like the only thing I've been able to find is that he died in his sleep.
Yeah.
So. You just hope there was no pain and no BS going on. Let me jump over here real quick. Fito made it with time to spare what I missed. Fito, I talked about Tony Siragusa and I talked about the Desean Watson douche-o-meter. That was pretty much as far as we went. And now my friend Lewis is here to kind of join me for a little bit on the back half here. Lou, I texted you earlier today. We got so last weekend, over Father's Day weekend, we were talking about baseball trip and whatnot. We were gonna originally try to go to Philadelphia for that same set of days, scheduling didn't work out. So that'll have to wait probably till next year. Next year, we're probably going to try to do a Philly and then take a day for Baltimore and then back up to Philly for a couple. But so this year we ended up settling on going to Milwaukee, and it's the whole fam is going. Like my wife and daughter are going too. I'm like, whoa, all right. Now they're not going to go to the ball games. But
right. You mentioned your daughter and your wife aren't really into baseball, right? It's just
they're
the
not.
boys. Right.
Just the boys. I mean, my wife would go, but like she's not. She'd be on her phone. She'd be,
Right.
It's hot out here, And she's probably listening right now, so I'm going to take some shit when I go have dinner after this. But she might spit in my food. But no, they're not. They're not into baseball, so they won't go to the games. But Milwaukee's actually kind of fun. They've got a bobblehead Hall of Fame and museum up there, which I didn't know until a couple of months ago when I was looking at stuff. So the Brewers are home that weekend, and the White Sox are home that weekend. And the White Sox on that Saturday have a noon game that they're gonna. So it's a makeup game against the Indians. Right? I can't call them the Guardians. I can't do it.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Tribe. That's it. I'm done. Right. So they're going to play that game at noon. So what we're going to do is we're going to get up to Milwaukee Thursday night. And then Friday we'll do sightseeing. There's a Discovery Center that the kids are excited about. There's the bobblehead thing. There's some other shit we can walk around. You want to sample some of the local foods. It's Milwaukee, so you bratwursts and cheeseburgers and shit like that. So, my fat ass is very excited for that. I won't be able to take part so much in the breweries that are all over the place because I got the kids with me. But
right.
Is what it is. But then Saturday, we're going to get up in the morning. We're going to keep the hotel in Milwaukee. We're going to get up in the morning and drive down to Chicago. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Milwaukee. And the boys and I are going to go to the White Sox game. And then we're going to leave there, and my wife and daughter are going to go out to Navy Pier or whatever for just a couple hours. Nuts around or whatever. And then they'll come back and pick us up. We'll stop I'm not stopping in the South Side for anything.
No.
We're going to drive probably up to the North Side, stop for some deep dish, and then boogie on back to Milwaukee. The Brewers play 6:00 that night.
Wow.
So we're going to double dip in the same day. I bought
doubleheader at two different ballparks. I love it. I mean,
and that's one of the only areas that you can really pull that off. You got Chicago, Milwaukee, Chicago itself. But I mean, the Cubs and White Sox are almost never home at the same time.
Right.
So Chicago, Milwaukee, Yankees, Mets, again, same thing. They try not to schedule it that way. You could do like a New York, Philly. You could do Philly, Baltimore. You could do Baltimore, DC.
Freeway series out in LA and
out in LA would work. Yeah. But a lot of it, you can't. And the other thing this does is my going on 12-year-old, he didn't join the baseball trips till 2015. By that point, he was already behind. Yankee Stadium, Comerica in Detroit, the Jake in Cleveland, and then the White Sox and the Brewers. So Yankee Stadium, I haven't been able to get them yet there. But with these two, that'll get him caught back up for everything except for Yankee Stadium. So he'll be all set. We'll get our passports stamped and everything, and we'll be rocking and rolling. What is this? Uh-oh. Zach's got something to say. Is Lou in here for group therapy to have to deal with Diaz last night?
Pretty much. It's pretty much.
I did not, and I was kicking myself because I did not get a chance to watch that last night, and I really, really wanted to. I'm going to have to go back and watch it on the channel. But I saw you guys advertise. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be decent. So what did you do? Did you make him read off that whole thing again?
No, we just, we talked about, how he had to do that. And he was actually kind of nice, man. I wanted him to play the villain role, and I was trying to, sell him out to the Miami audience to make him pay for his words in the past. But he was good about it, man. No, it was a good time. We caught up on some important basketball news coming up this week with the draft and the opening of free agency, and we wrapped up the NBA Finals. So, no, it was good to have him on.
So, where do you think Kyrie ends up?
I don't know, man. But he's
one of those. The Knicks are clamoring for him, and I don't think he should go there.
Yeah, with all the pressure, you saw when we went back to Boston for those 2 games. He couldn't do anything there. So it just I think it's in his head, man. He needs to go to a market that's not going to demand everything out of him. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully on
Nice,
Mars,
Chris.
which by the way is a flat planet from what I've heard.
It's right, yeah, flat planet. Right. Instead of flat earthers, we have now flat Mars people, right?
Right.
Right.
Oh man.
But yeah, my oldest is really into the NBA, and it's a little tough for me because I'm not. I try to be, but the NCAA basketball is really more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a more enjoyable sport.
Yeah, me and you were texting back throughout the whole tournament how it's just such a great. I always equate it to the kid in school who's failing out, but all of a sudden goes to summer school and he moves on to the next grade. Well, you got that. You got that in college basketball. You can have a crappy season and then you win your conference tournament and you're a Cinderella story and you're going to try to slay the giants of the world out there. So I love it, man. College basketball it's nothing like it. It's great.
It's the best postseason in all of sports
for sure.
And I don't think there's nothing that really compares to that
at all.
I mean, hockey playoffs are intense. In particular, when you get those last couple of minutes and somebody's only down a goal and they pull the goalie and it's just wild.
Yes.
The crowd is just ravenous and holy shit. Or the oh my God when somebody scores the goal in overtime. I mean, hockey playoffs is solid, but nothing compares to that NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Not as far as a postseason play.
It's great.
I love it. My dad got me hooked on that when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I grew up in Connecticut, so we're all Huskies fans. I mean, that was just the religion up there. College football, not a big deal up in the Northeast when I was a kid up in that area, anyways. And like Syracuse. So, and I grew up Catholic, right? So you just started rooting for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching Notre Dame, and here comes my Uncle Frank. Right? I'm like 8 or 9 years old or whatever the hell I was. Here comes my Uncle Frank. What are you watching that Irish shit for? I said, it's Notre Dame, Uncle. It's Catholic. He says, you watch Penn State. I said, why? He goes, because Joe Paisan.
That was it.
That was it. He didn't argue with Uncle Frank. Yes, sir.
Right. Great.
But yeah, that's so. And then of course, Penn State with all their bullshit. But
right.
It didn't change anything. I still got the hat hanging up over here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there you go, Chris. Thanks. I was waiting for it. Pedophile State University. Very nice. Very good.
Well, this is a bad time to say that I did go to a Sandusky Sleepaway camp. It was tough.
Oh God.
Yeah. The camp was fun, but the counselors were a real pain in the ass. Had to say it. Sorry. Had to do it, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus. Stop, Louis says. This has gone off the rails quick. But so the Chicago thing. Have you ever gone to a game on the South Side?
I have. I saw a doubleheader there.
Okay, when did you go?
Sorry, when did I go?
When did you go?
It was 2014. I saw Tigers and White Sox doubleheader, and it was awesome because they wore their traditional black jerseys, and then they wore the retro jerseys for the second game.
Nice.
So I got to see both of that. Miggy Cabrera was out there. So saw him pile up his stats, which you ultimately saw the culmination of his 3,000 hit. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I saw two. I've been to the South Side and saw that doubleheader there that one time.
So we went in 2014, right? My son and I. That was the White Sox and Brewers trip that I took with just my oldest in 2014. The year before, my middle was going to join the pack. So I wanted it to be special, get 2 stadiums instead of just the one we had been doing. And 2014 was also Jeter's farewell tour. So we went up when the Yankees were in Chicago. And we got to see that was the day they honored him there. And he ended up going, I think he went 4 for 5 with like 2 RBIs or some shit. Oh. I had tickets on the third base side, like 30 rows up on the lower level. We're in line, and I've got my Jeter jersey on. So does my son. We had made a sign, painted it the night before. It says, "Thank you, Captain." And it's actually hanging in my garage still now.
Great.
So we're standing out front with this. Here comes this older gentleman. And he just comes up. He's in line. We're waiting to get in, and he's just talking to us. You guys big Jeter fans? I said, yeah. I said, I grew up just outside New York, Yankee fan my whole life. This is my son. So you guys are here to see Jeter? Yeah. We're here to see Jeter and to see the ballpark. Yeah. He goes, that's really nice that you take your kid to do that. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out 2 tickets, and he hands them to me. And I grab and I look at them, and it says diamond level on it.
Oh.
And before it didn't register right away, by the time I looked up, this guy was gone. Now there's a billion people running around, so I mean, he just kind of blended in. He was wearing all White Sox shit. Imagine that. I look up to thank him, and I'm like, I said, Grady, where'd that guy go?
Whoa.
He says, I don't know why. I said, he just gave us these 2 tickets. Now, look, I went to hundreds of Yankee games. I've seen this fucking story before. Somebody gives you these tickets, you go in, you go to the game, you sit down, all of a sudden the people whose seats those really are show up and you get bounced. So I'm like, all right, we're going to. So when we go in, I have them scan the tickets I bought. But now I'm walking around with these diamond level ones. I said, well, let's just see. And I get to the section, and I start walking down. I'm looking at the seat. Keep going. Now we're behind the visitors' dugout, right?
Wow.
Which is the first base side in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm walking down. Second row behind the dugout. And the guy says, okay, here's the usher at that point. Here's your seat. Goes over, wipes the fucking seats off for us. I'm like, I'm used to bleacher seats in Yankee Stadium. What the hell is this shit? Wipes the seats off. I look up. Sitting right next to us is the guy who handed me the tickets with his wife. Hey, you made it. I'm like, oh my God, this is real. We're like 10 feet from Derek Jeter with this freaking sign. So we're holding up the sign every time Jeter comes, sticks his head out and everything. And at one point, he gets up out of the dugout. He's just looking around. He looks down, sees it, and goes like this. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. I'm like, he just said hi. He said hi. So like 20 minutes go by and my phone starts blowing up. It's all my friends and family in Connecticut. Are you at that fucking game? I'm like, oh shit, we're on the Yes Network broadcast.
Oh, wow.
So unfreaking believable. We end up just, the guy didn't ask for anything. I said, can I get you something? Can I pay for your food all game long? Nah, I'm good.
Wow. And now was his wife?
Yeah, and his wife was sitting, they were White Sox fans.
So they were both White Sox fans.
Yeah,
that's a great story, man.
Sitting right there.
That's
I
so
couldn't
awesome.
believe it.
That's cool. Yeah, we saw Jeter's during the farewell tour over in Tampa. Me and a couple buddies went out there. We saw him 2 nights, and yeah, man, what could you say? I mean, that last year, everybody showed up to support the captain, and it was impressive, man. He had quite a send off that year.
Well, I ended up going to his last home game.
Did you?
I was there when he had the walk-off hit.
Whoa.
Yeah. I hugged like a 70-year-old janitor when it happened. It was fucking wild, dude. It was just wild. I mean, my seats were in the upper level, but by the time it got late in the game like that, everybody moved down.
Really?
And I was standing like behind where the seats are in third base. So I'm just standing there, and Jeter's up with the it's all set up for him. And sure enough, he smacks that pitch in the right field, and I mean, dude, if there was a roof on that building, the only other, I think there's 2 other times I've heard Yankee Stadium get that loud. They were both in the old stadium. One was game 2 of the 04 ALCS, the Pedro Martinez, Who's Your Daddy game. The whole stadium chanting. I was at that game too. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I mean, it was nuts. The other one I was not at was when Mattingly hit the homer in '95 in the playoffs against Seattle. It's back-to-back with Ruben Sierra. That play, we waited forever for Mattingly to get a shot, and then here he is in a home game in the Bronx, and he bashes this fucking thing into the right field bleachers, and the place went berserk.
Wow.
Those are the only other 2 times I remember that place getting that loud. The 04 game at the old stadium, the place was shaking. Like the whole building was shaking. I was sitting in the bleachers. That's where my season tickets were at, and you could feel the vibration of the stadium shaking.
Wow.
It was nuts. Who's your daddy? Remember when Pedro made that stupid statement right at the end of the year?
Yeah,
of course. Series famously didn't work out well for us. But
He said, I can only tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddy.
That's it.
And they did. They called him.
And oh, dude, he comes out and the organist is playing. Dun, 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 it's supposed to, and the thing says, "Let's go Yankees." The whole crowd is chanting, "Who's your daddy?" It was nuts.
Nuts, yeah. Yeah, I do remember also on Fox during the World Series in 01 against the Diamondbacks when was it Bing Yum Kim or the closer of the Diamondbacks
When he blew the back-to-back saves.
Back to back, and I remember, incredible. That sounded on TV just nuts. And I remember one of the signs. Somebody had a sign because somebody asked one of the Diamondbacks, "Hey, what do you think about the mystique and aura of Yankee Stadium?" And he said, "I'm not worried about that," or whatever. And then somebody had a sign out in the bleachers that said, "Mystique and aura performing nightly in the Bronx." I thought that was classic.
That was also when the guy held up the thing, Mr. November, for Jeets when he hit the walk-off.
Because that obviously, got pushed back.
Yep. Yeah, that was it. That one hurt. Losing that one hurt.
Yeah.
He wanted that one bad after the whole 9/11 thing. It was tough.
Yeah.
What are these guys over here? You enjoying this baseball talk? Come on, guys. We're not just talking about the ins and outs of baseball. We're talking about experiences at ballparks. You got to at least be able to appreciate that.
Hey, we got to get Walden. We got to get Jay Vagnetti, Captain Demps. Look, after hockey's over in the next week or so, baseball's the only show in town, And
Right.
I know you want to get psyched up for training camp. Training camp, people, your team's playing each other. They're beating each other up in practice. Baseball has a show to itself in the summer, and you got to give it a shot, man. It's a time to support America's pastime.
I totally couldn't agree with you more, man. It's a nail on the head. That was perfectly stated. I mean, and that's Come on, y'all get on this train, will you? And how could any of you in Philly be upset about baseball right now? What is 16-3 in the last 19 games or something like that? I mean, come on, jump on. Nobody's going to call you a bandwagon. Just jump on it.
Exactly.
But that Chicago thing. So where were you sitting when you went? Were you lower level, upper level? Where were you?
I was lower level. A buddy of mine. It was a doubleheader, so we were able to get. It was two games for the price of one.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting right beyond the first base dugout, which is that's the visiting team dugout, right? So what you just said?
First base was the visitor.
Yes, yep. Correct. Because Miggy Cabrera was playing first base, and we were within striking distance of him. So it was that's where we sat.
Did you try to wander anywhere else, upper levels and stuff?
I did not. I know it's a huge stadium. I mean, it's got 12 levels.
And at the time, it was called U.S. Cellular, I'm pretty sure. At that time, I can't remember what the hell they've named it now, but
guaranteed rate, I think.
Guaranteed rate. That's
ridiculous. Yeah. They should call it Comiskey.
Just call it Comiskey.
Yeah, with all these, whatever you want to do, just say this and this sponsored by, but call it Comiskey, sponsored by whatever you want to do it. But you got to call it the original name of the ballpark.
Right.
Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah. It's like, what's going to happen to Wrigley Field? You're going to rename that? So you can't. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I asked those questions for a reason, and this is my anger for this week. I start looking into tickets for the White Sox for, like I said, I've already got the ones for the Brewers that Saturday night. I start looking for tickets for the White Sox for that noon game that we're going to be up there. Now, last year, I had heard that they were only allowing you to walk around the level that you bought your tickets. And everything I read was that it was COVID related. They were trying to keep some sort of separation so that everybody wasn't clusterfucked together. I'm like, whatever. It's Chicago, it's Illinois, it's liberal, it's whatever. They all suck ass. I get it. So before I went to go buy the tickets today, I asked the question. I'm on a couple of groups, one called Ballpark Chasers, one called Ballpark Stampeders. The stamp in Stampeders is capitalized for those passports that I have where you get the stamps. Stampeders is where I get the response. I asked, is this still the case? Can you only walk around the level that you purchased? Apparently, it is still the case.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, okay, get it. It sucks, but I need to get my stamp, and I need to be able to take pictures next to the monuments. I think they have one for Louis Aparicio, Joe Jackson, shit like that.
Frank Thomas.
Yep. Right. And I grew up watching the Big Hurt. There's no way I'm not getting those photos.
Right.
How can I do that? And they all said you got to buy level 100. Fine. So I'll buy level 100. So I go looking up tickets, and they're like $50 a piece. All right, whatever. So the thread continues on. And people started asking, well, why is it like that? And I commented, I'm assuming it's COVID. And then somebody else asked, hey, if I buy a ticket on the 100 level, can I go up to the 500 level? And the response to that, yes.
See, that's wow.
It's got nothing to do with COVID. Apparently, the White Sox have been doing this for quite some time. And are you fucking kidding? Baseball got enough trouble trying to get asses in seats. And that is how you're going to treat people trying to come to your ballpark? You have to, but you want to price gouge them and make them purchase the most expensive just to be able to see anything? Dude, the average family can't just do that, okay? Like after the taxes and convenience fees, which I don't know whose fucking convenience those are, but it certainly ain't mine. It's like $200 for the tickets for just me and my two boys. And that's not like an extreme amount of money, but we're gonna eat, we're gonna buy shit. I mean, you're probably looking like you're looking at $300 before I leave. I'm only gonna be here for a couple hours. Yeah. Why can't you allow families to purchase wherever and still? Nobody's asking you to let them go sit wherever, but let them walk around the ballpark and take their pictures, for crying out loud.
Agreed. Look, if you want to do like a club level area where the trophies are going to be on display, World Series trophies or whatever, okay, fine. That's uppity. You want to, but see the statues, to see they have that exploding scoreboard out there. They got the showers, which they used to have like summer showers. They got a shower out there that you could go, different aspects of the game. You want to see where the retired numbers are. You shouldn't have to pay extra to see that.
That should be accessible to anyone who buys a ticket to a game. Anyone.
Of course.
Even the Yankees don't do that shit.
Yeah.
If you would think any franchise would do it, it'd be the Yankees, right?
Right.
You talk about uppity, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then also
I was shocked.
With baseball is the one sport, any other sport, when they're warming up, previous to the game, they're zoned in and you can't, access the players or whatever. Baseball, everybody's, light tossing, stretching. It's perfect opportunity for kids to go down and ask for a player's autograph. So now you're going to take that away as well, too, because ushers are known for, hey, 30, 40 minutes before the game, come on down and, try and get so-and-so's attention, see if he can come over and get you to sign his ball, So that's I'm surprised.
Oh, I was absolutely, Lou, I was disgusted. That's not baseball.
Okay? At all.
That is not baseball. That is, not to mention, what does baseball celebrate most about itself? It's history, right?
Right.
Monuments, retired numbers, all of those things that now someone who can't afford to buy tickets anything more than the $20 seats at the top of the stadium, and he's told, no, you can't come down here. You can't go take pictures with this shit.
Yes.
Give me a break, man. I mean, come on, dude.
Very strange to hear. I will say this though, the Cubs at Wrigley, I've been there 3 different times, but I haven't gone recently. I know that you did, if you bought bleacher tickets, because it was separated from the actual grandstand. So that's a different situation. But I mean,
the old Yankee Stadium was like that too.
Okay. So
you could only, but that, I think part of that was because the bleacher creatures were fucking insane too.
Well, that too, right? You want to separate those two.
They didn't serve alcohol out there. You weren't allowed to walk around the rest of the ballpark.
Right. It's more of a safety issue with those.
We don't need you people throwing batteries all over the ballpark, okay? That's enough.
Right.
But I mean, dude, I gotta be honest with you. I was so shocked to read that thing. I assumed it was a COVID thing because that's what I had read last year. Apparently, this is just something that the White Sox do. I hope that guy's wrong, and I'm gonna find out when I'm there because I'll see. I'm gonna ask because I'm a loudmouth, and that's just what I'm gonna do. And then whoever tells me the answer, if they back up what that guy said, I'm going to tell them how rotten that is to baseball. Like, you're not doing anything to help your game at all.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is alienating more people.
Yeah.
Alienating more people.
And say this is your one shot. I mean, obviously you're within driving distance, but don't say that. Say, hey, I'm coming all the way out from California or, Washington State, and this is my one shot to see all these things, my one ballpark visit out here, and you're taking it away from me. You got to let them know. You got to sell it. It's just awful.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm driving distance. It's still 5 hours to Chicago for me. It's not like it's an hour and a half. Not to mention, I'm going to be up in Milwaukee and going out of my way to come see these assholes.
What I meant is like make him feel bad about it.
Oh, you know it.
Look, it's my first time here, and
Oh, I'm
probably
gonna hug my kids, be like, "Look what you did."
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
Look what you did.
Make sure the kids have little, tears in their eyes.
Right. I can't buy him a hot dog now because I got to buy 100 level seats here because of you jackasses.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I couldn't believe it, man. That was the crux of my anger. That and the way Cleveland has treated their fan base, the Browns fans, the way they've been pissed on and stuff. Those are my two rants for the week. I mean, so that's where we're going. That's and that's the weekend we're going up. We're going to leave the Thursday, get in Thursday night, Friday in Milwaukee, Saturday down to Chicago and back, and then Sunday in Milwaukee, and then Monday we're going to drive back home.
Awesome. And I appreciate getting that text from you. I know I was in contact with you and Sackmaster about trying to, get to a ballpark I hadn't been to this year. Like I said, I've been to Chicago, but not Milwaukee, so I'm gonna definitely try to join you up there on the trip.
Oh, nice.
For the night game, and it's what it's all about, man. Summer, checking a new ballpark off the list, and it's America's pastime, man. Got to continue to support and love it.
So you've not been to Milwaukee?
No.
Oh, dude, beautiful park.
I've heard. Yeah, I've been to 14 active parks, 17 total, but not Milwaukee. So
the way we do this with the stamps and stuff, and I know not everybody does this, but I don't make a killing. So, and I got 3 kids, so we just treat it as, did I see that team play at home, and whether it's an active ballpark or not. So right now, every park the kids have been to is still an active ballpark. Every park that I've been to, with the exception of Shea Stadium and the ballpark in Arlington, I went to those 2, and those 2 are no longer. They've been replaced, and I've not been back to the new ones yet. Yankee Stadium, I had season tickets to the old one, and I had been to the new one. I missed the old stadium just because that's kind of what I grew up with. It was louder. Like, you couldn't hear yourself think in that place because it was still that closed off concourses. And the seats kind of came up, and the sound would just stay in that bowl. You couldn't, watching it on TV, you couldn't even hear the announcers. Like, it would just get to a point where the announcers are sitting there like, "It's 56,000 assholes are too loud for us again." What's Fito got over here? Yankee Stadium mid-level is amazing. So much going on and things to do while the game is going on. I've been to at least 8 times where I don't think I sat in my chair for 9 innings. Wild times. Wow. Yeah, I've not been back to a game there. I think right after we got married. The last time I was in that. No, Jeter's final home game. Yeah, that's the last time I was at Yankee Stadium. So
2014. No, 2014.
2014. So it's been 8 years.
Wow.
Lou donates. I remember when general admission tickets at the Vet for $2.50 to $3. Yeah, my friend Sam, his dad used to go to Yankee Stadium when he was a kid with his dad and brother and stuff, and they would tell you stories about 50-cent tickets, $1. They sit in the bleachers, and just wild. I can't even imagine now. Even back when I had my season tickets, the shit was $15 a piece.
Wow,
and that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
that's an old stadium.
The Vet, Three Rivers, Riverfront Stadium, those circular stadiums, not the most appealing, stadiums to watch a ball game at. But again, a lot of history in all those places. And the Coliseum was the last of its kind that had, dual teams playing football and baseball with the Oakland A's when the Raiders left. Obviously, that was the last one. But man, everybody's due for a new ballpark at some point. I just love these love seeing them all, man. It's fantastic.
Oh, so do I. Everything's got its own little personal little quirks and stuff. I probably won't get to Oakland before they either build them a new stadium or move out of the city. I probably won't get out there. So that's one I'll likely miss. But I mean, where do you think they're going to end up? I don't think they're staying in Oakland, man. Oakland has alienated all of their sports teams.
I know, and that's why I think they might stay. They're the last one.
Really?
I mean, Oakland, if they lose all 3 of their teams,
I know.
It's just that's
the Raiders, the Warriors, and now they're gonna go ahead and lose the A's too.
And they are passionate fans out there, man. They're that's a dump of a stadium. from what I've heard. I haven't been, but and they've had some good runs. Obviously the Moneyball and the Bash Brothers in the '80s. They won the '70s with Catfish Hunter boys.
Three straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they got a lot of history, a lot of tradition, and the fans support it. So it'd be a shame if they left, man. I think they should try to make it work out there. Hopefully,
they don't draw dick. They get nobody going to those games, man. They need a new park, but Tampa Bay needs a new park.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay would be so freaking easy. Move the damn thing over into Ybor.
Yeah,
and make it 30,000 seats. It doesn't have to be some huge, grandiose thing. Make it 30,000 seats. Put a retractable dome on it, and go on about your business.
Yeah.
Look, the Trop is not a nice stadium. You've been there.
Yeah, several times.
But what's the biggest problem with it? It's a fucking location. Nobody wants to drive across the bay to St. Pete to deal with that shit. Right? You want to have a couple of beers at the game and stuff, and then you got to try to drive back. There's only a couple of ways off the goddamn.
Yeah,
the location makes it a lot worse.
And I know it rains and the roof is somewhat appealing. The dome, the way it's sideways or whatever it is, but come on, you're in Florida. I know it rains a lot, but it's Florida. You got to have
Florida.
Windows open. You got to have a roof open, and you got to do it.
Yeah, that's why I say put a retractable on it. You know what I mean? So you can have the open area if you want to. Now you get into the middle of, you get into fucking August in Tampa. Shut that shit. Nobody's sitting out in that heat. Christ. I mean, down in Miami, would you do? I wouldn't sit out in that heat. Nope. You can find me on my couch watching that shit in the air conditioning.
It's got to be retractable, but you got to be able to sunlight coming in, which you can't do in the Thunderdome, Tropicana.
It's funny when we went. It was a quick trip down. I got a buddy who lives just north of Tampa, so we stayed with him. I was just about to start a new job after in 2018. We were still in Tennessee, and we had an Uber driver, and I told him where we were going, and he called it the land boob. Have you heard it called that before?
I have.
It's like, are you funny? He's like, yeah, some of us locals call it the land boob.
It does look.
So when we get up close to it, I'm like, no shit, it's got a nipple and everything.
Yep. Yeah, it does.
All I could think of was that Uber driver. I'm like, son of a bitch. It is a land boob. Yeah. Who's over here? Yankee Stadium. Have you been to San Fran, Adam? I've not. I've not been to any California ballpark. So I've just not made it out there. I've still got to hit. Well, I've got to get the boys to Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, and Fenway. And we still got to get to Philly, Baltimore, and DC. And we still got to get to Miami.
Well, hey.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna
whenever you come down here, man, it's full service out here.
I appreciate it,
from
brother.
the airport to the ballpark, we got you covered. So, but I actually have been to 3 in California. I've been to San Fran, Petco Park on San Diego, and Anaheim Angels as well. 2 of those are my top 3. My number 1 park is Wrigley that I've seen so far, and then San Fran is 3. At the time it was AT&T Field. I don't know what it's called now. And then Petco's number 2.
Oracle, isn't it? Is that Oracle? Or is that Seattle? No, Seattle's T-Mobile, isn't it?
Yeah, Seattle's
T-Mobile. So I think it's Oracle in San Francisco. I think. They change names so much now with these fucking sponsors. It drives me nuts.
They should sign like a 40-year lease or something.
Like, enough! You call it this.
Yeah.
Call it Barry Bonds Field for all I give a shit. Just call it this.
Right. Exactly.
Stop changing shit left and right. Especially as I get older. I'm not going to remember any of that.
No.
Where'd you go in 2015? I don't know. The fuck do they call it now?
No, but it's awesome, man. And like I said, unlike basketball, hockey, where the sport just moves too fast. Baseball, you can take it in, and they're known for having, statues out, the numbers, retired numbers, the World Series pennants if they've won, or even, league championship pennants out. It's just the history, the tradition, the numbers. You look to see who's the home run leader. Sometimes you got a seat where a ball was hit, a significant home run. They color the seat purple or green or whatever it is. And, just you love to see all that. And you can do it at baseball as opposed to all these other sports where, again, it just moves too fast. You can't stop to take it in.
No, yeah. I mean, if you get up and leave your seat to go look at stuff at an NBA game, you're going to miss
40 points probably.
Yeah, you're going to miss an obscene amount of shit.
Exactly.
Whereas baseball, you might not. And some people, that turns them off. See, I could get up and go do all this shit. What do I need to do? Well, you know what? And I've told people a lot of times some of these folks in here, Russ or Brian or Keenan or someone, baseball sucks. And my response is always the same. It's okay, guys. It's kind of a smart person's sport. It's all right. They know I'm only fucking with them, though. Fito, consider us in for Mets, Yanks, and Sox. Gotcha, brother. That was the trip we were supposed to do in 2020 before COVID wrecked the whole world. We had that big one in 19, and then 2020, we were going to go up, stay with my brother for 2 weeks around the 4th of July, hit the Hall of Fame, Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox, spend a day in the city, spend a day in Boston, and then spend, the days around the 4th of July with my brother, go out on his boat, watch the fireworks and shit, and then the whole world flipped upside down in March of that year. So we never got back. We've been kind of scrambling for it ever since. So, shit happens, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't have the options we did. So land on your feet, you're in good shape.
Exactly.
But that was all I had, man. I love it when you come when you come in and even when it was right on cue, dude. When we're in there just bullshitting.
The DB Cooper show, DB Cooper hijack show.
The DB Cooper, yeah. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore show, brought to you by DB Cooper and fucking Hidden Valley Ranch. He's sitting there doing shots of ranch dressing and stuff. I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? Guy cracks me up. He is something else.
Yes, he is, man.
You got to hang out with him for how many years down there in Miami? That must have been some wild shit.
Yeah, we had some good times, man.
No, this is a family program. You keep that to yourself. But that was all I had. And here I was talking about staying on for an hour, and I'm pushing an hour to 15. So, Lou, thanks for coming on, man. I wanted to talk to you about the for July coming up and what our plans were, where we were going, what we were doing. And I wanted to get your intake, your thoughts on that Chicago thing. Because when I read that pissed me off something awful.
Nuts, man. I can't believe that. But no, my pleasure for having me on. Thank you. Man, always great talking to you. And, from the first time we met down in the DR, man, we just hit it off. We talked sports like endless amount of times. All we were, every time we ran into each other, we're, giving this sports memory that we had, this and the other. Same thing with everybody in the room, man. It just, has our passion for sports and the world of sports and everything going on in it. And it's great to be amongst, people like that. So. Dude,
the room, these guys are something else, man. They really and there are plenty of times when I'm like, I've got some stuff scribbled down, but it's a slow time of year for some of the sports, dude. And sometimes you have a week where there's just nothing going on, and I'm reaching for content, and here they come in and they are just on fire, dude. I feed off of that, and we have a good old time.
For a guy that's always in the room trying to, upstage a comment, it's a tough act to follow because some people in there are dropping some crazy one-liners, and so it's great, man. It's very therapeutic, very fun, and it's great to be amongst people who are like-minded.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. That Thursdays when they do the the Green Legion Radio or Sundays with Baseball Brunch. I mean, I'm in the room with them, and again, I'll back up what you said. Trying to one up in there, it becomes almost impossible. I'll just sit back and read the shit sometimes. You guys are too much. So I do appreciate Lou. Ashley, thank you so much. I'm going to go back and watch that show from last night. I want to see you giving Diaz hell. You did give him at least some hell, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
All right, I got to get in and check that out. But Lou Mancini, Chris, Zach, thanks for coming in. Fito, Keaton, Russ, Jay Vagnetti, and Sawyer. I'm not quite sure who Sawyer was. It might have been one of my son's friends. I know my kid will post a link to all of his buddies and stuff. So I'm in here cussing and shit. I'm like, you're teenagers, so it falls into the not my problem bucket, right? And so that bucket's getting pretty big. As I get older, that not my problem bucket's getting pretty large.
Right.
So, all right, Lou, I will. I'll hit you up if I can get any more information on Chicago and see what the hell's going on there. I had already bought the tickets for Milwaukee in anticipation of going. So, I mean, if you tell me for sure, when you know for sure, I can look to flip those, and we can look to get 4 together. Because I'll just be there with my boys. The wife and daughter for that night game will be at the hotel. But stay in touch and
Yeah.
and let me know what your plans are, bud.
We will, for
All
sure.
right.
All right.
To the room. Thank you all very much, Lou. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna keep posting that link, and whoever wants to come in. These guys get hot in the room, man, but they never want to come. They want to see their face anywhere. You know what I mean? So
Come on in, man. If I could do it, anybody can.
Hey, come on in. We're just
Come
here to
on
have
in.
a good time. I mean, I got a face made for radio too. Shit. What are you kidding? All right, everybody. This has been the Unhappy Gilmore Show, powered by Green Legion Radio. We will catch you next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Y'all have a good week. All right, everybody. Appreciate you very much. We will see you next week.